You know, Cool Whip's not that bad for you. For what you get, it's
Right.
like, you know, you can
Throw some butter and cheese into that container.
macaroni Cool Whip.
This case should never have come to trial.
I don't think it's fair to call my clients frauds. Because one time I turned into a dog and they helped me. Thank you.
Your Honor, we would like to withdraw our plea of not guilty and enter a plea of guilty.
This trial is a travesty. It's a travesty of a mockery, of a sham, of a mockery, of a travesty, of two mockeries, of a sham.
If we are to have faith in justice, we need only to believe in ourselves.
And the truth shall set you free!
How do you plead, guilty or not guilty?
Oh, guilty, but with a real good excuse.
I think the truth will come forth.
You can't handle the truth!
Hello, everybody. It's Thanksgiving time, and it's time for more Law Lite.
That's right.
Brought to you by Foreman Watson Holtry, FWHlegal.com. As always, we are situated in the library studio at 530 Frederica Street in the high-rise white brick edifice.
Yes.
Yeah. And we have a lot to get to today. PJ, first thing I want to say is thank you for working today.
Oh, no problem.
Yeah, it's the day before Thanksgiving.
Yep.
And, you know,
I wanted to give you something to be thankful for.
thank you. I am thankful. Thank you. I got here and I was Kathy was down there working on her end of the hall, and my end of the hall was dark. It was cold. It was quiet.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's something wrong with this picture when I'm here and nobody else is. So I got a little bit rusty and tusty and upset, and then I decided, hey, it's going to be a good day to get things done. And you and I then were talking about, well, we don't even have a guest for the podcast because things are so slow around here this morning.
That's right.
And as I was walking down the hallway, another faithful warrior of the firm, John Bennett, was walking down the hall, and I said, hey, you want to be on the podcast? Without hesitation, PJ, without hesitation, John said, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't know what he's getting himself into.
That's right.
Getting ready to be into a highly contested discussion. And John, thank you for being with us.
Morning.
Of course, John would be here because, as we all know, crime doesn't sleep.
Crime doesn't sleep. That's right. John is on the case.
Well, saving people from getting wrongly convicted also doesn't sleep.
Never stops.
That's right.
Justice never stops.
Justice doesn't sleep.
As long as John is in the building.
Then it goes to sleep.
Okay, here's the deal. For those that don't remember or don't know, John Bennett has been with the firm, boy, we're going on 4 years, right?
Yep, started in 2017.
That's right.
Fall of 2017.
Fall of 20,000. That's what I thought. So, yes, 4 years. And John pretty much, I would say 80%, 85% works in criminal defense. The other 15% of his time are miscellaneous litigation matters involving property disputes and things like that.
And sometimes he cleans the bathroom.
He does. He's just an all-purpose guy. Has done an incredible job over this past year in growing his practice, developing a reputation in our region for doing good criminal defense work. Very proud of John's work, and I just think the sky's the limit as he moves forward. You feel the momentum in your practice, John?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I feel like this is the time that I'm starting to hit my stride. And,
Yeah.
you know, starting to get return phone calls, you know, repeat clients, unfortunately. It's part of the criminal defense practice.
Now, how many of those return phone calls are just to let you know that your car's warranty is almost up? It's time to re-up.
Or spam risks. Yeah. When you start to establish any type of practice, you know, our best personal injury cases come from clients who have referred somebody else or are coming back because somebody else in their family has been injured and that type of thing. And it is kind of the mark that you're becoming, you know, I want to say a weathered attorney, is that you've been through enough storms that people know you're a storm chaser. You know what I'm saying? And so I just, you know, hats off to you. I know a few months ago I sent you an email. It's probably been more than that. A few months ago I had sent you an email just telling you about kind of making the comparison of you to a couple of my favorite basketball players from U of L who were like glue guys, the guys that were just consistent and churned it out and got it done. And by the end of their career, they were thought of as, you know, some of the best basketball players who had played at U of L, not because they were stealing the show, but because they were just continually getting better. So
right.
Hats off to you on a good year.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for, just to maintain that consistency and grow it, and every year compound it, kind of like inflation.
After having said some nice things about John, I will say that we're getting ready to be in a debate about something very important, and that is we are narrowing the 8 Christmas movies that began at 32 down to the final 4.
Probably more important than crime.
Not crime, defending those
criminals.
who have been accused. No, those who have been accused. PJ just gets it all
I know.
contorted and twisted.
He's had some personal experiences, and we've had these
Tarnished him
discussions.
for life.
I like teasing John because he's just like,
Yeah, he just shakes his head.
I will say that I kind of feel left out because I don't have headphones, so I almost feel like you two are having a different conversation than I'm having.
No, we just hear every inhale and exhale. We know when you're getting nervous.
that's right.
That's the second comment we've heard about headphones.
Everybody wants it. It would have to have a long cord though.
But we could work that out. That looks like that could go quite a ways down there. Before we get to the Christmas movies, we don't want to overlook that tomorrow is a holiday as well.
Or yesterday, if you're listening to this.
Yeah. That's correct. Missed that one, didn't I?
It's okay.
Okay, so Thanksgiving time is here. Let's just say it that way. We're all guys and we have mamas, and we every now and then got our way with asking our mom for something, you know, whether it was a gift or something like that. But me, this was a cool time of year because my mom was a health food nut, you know, and it's just kind of fitting. I've married a health food nut, and so my whole life I've been kind of in prison when it comes to eating. And but my mom, man, Thanksgiving, she would say, "What do you want?" And I would always, you know, give her my wish list. So I got a question for you. Let's say you get your choice of one item on the Thanksgiving menu. What is that item that you pick it and make it any way you want?
I have a feeling this is his way of figuring out who's going to bring what Friday.
That's right. Leftovers. That's right. And I am working Friday. Are you working Friday, John?
I will be out of town.
Uh-oh. Slacker.
I will be with John out of town.
See here. So there won't be any leftovers.
Go back to the tofu, Travis.
I'll have my mom drop it off.
This is notorious because I'm very particular about certain Thanksgiving food item, and it's broccoli casserole. And not only do I pick broccoli casserole, but I tell people how to make it to make sure that it's made with Velveeta cheese, that the broccoli is essentially pureed.
Oh, yeah, so soft. Yeah. Okay.
And lots of Townhouse buttery crackers.
On top.
Right.
That actually sounds good. I don't think I've ever had broccoli casserole, but I love cheese and broccoli together.
Well, this is more like cheese and cracker casserole with broccoli, you know, sprinkled in.
I'm just going to go old school macaroni and cheese.
Do you mean
like
old school
homemade? No, I'm just going to say
Velveeta,
right,
not Velveeta
right.
box cheese, shells and cheese, but made with like Velveeta and butter
cheese,
and then some sprinkled cheese on top of it or something.
Yeah.
Little browns.
Yeah, you got to get the right mix of butter and cheese.
You like mac and cheese, John?
Anything with cheese.
I'm
addicted to cheese.
I've actually heard that there's a chemical in cheese that creates cheese addiction. Have you ever heard that?
Yes, it's similar to the same effect that heroin has.
Yeah, and
I think he's done some actual research on this. Someone has a legit addiction.
My client eats a lot of cheese. Secondary to that is a heroin addiction.
Do you have something you'd like to admit on the podcast?
Do you like cheese,
today?
John?
I love cheese. Yeah.
You ever eat a Briar Patch? The cheese at the end of the cheese at the end of the salad bar is the best cheese in the world, man.
I haven't been
oh
to
my
Briar Patch
gosh!
in forever.
There are so many. First of all, Thanksgiving's my favorite holiday because it is Christmas without all the gifts and crap. So, I love Thanksgiving. I like the leaves on the tree, the bite in the air. I like the sports that are going on. It's rivalry week every week for football teams. Got some basketball going on. It usually is easier for family to make it. You know, it is my place. Thanksgiving, and food. It's like my day to cheat. Okay, so I'm gonna cheat on what I asked you because I'm gonna name 2 things. All right, first of all, I'm gonna hit the sweet table. All right, I love pumpkin pie. I love it.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I'm making 2 pumpkin pies tonight myself from scratch. And I was talking to Dr. Thomas Logan this week, and he was like, what y'all doing for Thanksgiving? And Missy told him, well, Travis is making pies. And he goes, you know how to make pies? And I was like, I know how to make one-time pie. I do it one time a year, and I do it really well. And so it's pumpkin pies.
Cool Whip, no Cool Whip.
Cool Whip.
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
I
take my Cool Whip and then I kind of layer it out before I get a little bit of Cool Whip every bite. So
my pie to Cool Whip ratio is usually off. It's usually more Cool Whip.
Yeah.
But
okay.
still,
Fair enough.
I usually just Cool Whip just out of the jar.
That too.
Yeah, Cool Whip's not that bad for you. For what you get. It's
right.
like, you can. That's a good cheat food.
Throw some butter and cheese into that container.
Macaroni Cool Whip. All right, second when as far as main course is concerned, but I like a good moist stuffing. I like the stuffing that, if you can make it with some of the turkey extras, and I just like stuffing. Now the one thing bad about that is if you eat it first, it fills you up. So you kind of got to eat the other stuff and you enjoy it, and then eat the stuffing. But I love stuffing.
Like in the turkey stuffing?
No,
or
like
any kind of stuffing.
Not
like
box stoves. I'm like from scratch. My stepmom John is from where you grew up, in that area, and she makes. It's kind of like an oyster dressing. I know it sounds funny, but it's really good. Yeah,
I think that's a deep South thing.
That's a deep South thing, oyster dressing. So anyhow, those are some of my favorites. But enjoy it, guys, wherever you're at. I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and I hope all of our listeners do or did. Right?
Both.
Yeah, both. Okay.
Right now, we're living in the future
today.
and the past.
Yeah, this is a great thing. We have some work to do, guys. So let's jump in now, John. And for our listeners, there are some people who have been misguided. First thing I want to clarify is this: we got a lot of comments on social media this week, like, "Where is Christmas Vacation?" I'm like, listen to the podcast.
Yeah.
Right?
I also got a Where's Jingle All the Way and Where's Die Hard.
Right. Okay. So here's the thing.
Yeah.
We didn't just magically come up with 8 movies. All right. First of all, we did this last year, and one movie ran the gauntlet and won the whole doggone thing, and that was Christmas Vacation.
Right.
And therefore, it sits at the table of the high priests. It is the number one inductee to the Movie Hall of Fame, Christmas Movie Hall of Fame. It sits there. Okay, it doesn't have to go back and battle again. It has earned its spot. So therefore, it was not on the list of 32. But on the list of 32 were many great movies who have been knocked out.
These people have cut you deep.
Oh, they have. Yeah, you can tell when it gets to me. Okay,
well,
he's
probably like when Kentucky went back to back in national championships.
Yes, let's not go there.
You lost me.
Okay, here we go. So we had 32 movies.
Correct.
It went down to 16 by the help of Tyler Johnson.
Yes.
Then it went from 16 down to 8 with the help of Amy Burden.
Yep.
Now today we're going from 8 to 4. Okay? And yes.
Final 4.
Yes, some good movies.
right.
Jingle
No
All the
pressure.
Way, all that have been knocked out. That's the spirit of competition.
I'm sure that cut you deep too.
Yes, Jingle All the Way getting knocked out does hurt, but you know what? We've got some great movies. And without further ado, can you add the real sound effect there?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm still going to keep that sound in.
Okay, number 1. A Charlie Brown Christmas versus Frosty the Snowman. The way this works, John, is you two will debate it. I will cast the deciding vote. I can tell he knows. He's been listening. I can tell. Look,
yeah, he's a super fan.
He is a super fan. Our one.
A one and only super fan.
John Bennett.
In addition to cheese, I'm also addicted to podcasts.
And if you ever get a chance to go to Hawaii or Alaska, make sure you listen to the podcast while you're there so we can try to
I'm going to need a hefty Christmas bonus to be able to do that.
Me too. All right, so you're the guest. I'll let you weigh in first on these two heavyweights right out of the gate.
Charlie Brown Christmas and Frosty the Snowman, both classics. That's a tough one. I'm going to go with Charlie Brown Christmas. My little girl has a Charlie Brown Christmas tree in her room. She loves Charlie Brown. She has a Charlie Brown nativity set.
As I always say, I love both these movies. However, I'm going to agree with John. I think between the two of them, I have the most fondest of memories with Charlie Brown Christmas. That's if when I think of Christmas, that is typically one of like the top 3 I think of.
Right.
When it comes to this time of year.
Right. Well, my vote's not necessary, but let me say this: if I was going to have to decide between these two movies, by the way, Charlie Brown Christmas is advancing, and the public voted. In fact, there's only two movies that got more votes than Charlie Brown Christmas. But in the voting between Charlie Brown Christmas and Frosty the Snowman, it was almost 2-1.
Yeah.
But let me say this: the deciding factor for me between these two movies is that Frosty encapsulates only one element of Christmas time, and that is magic and snow. Well, it's 2 elements: magic and snow. Right.
Right.
I mean, you know, the cold and the kids and the snow.
Mm-hmm.
Charlie Brown Christmas encapsulates a lot more elements of Christmas, and I am not saying Frosty's not a Christmas movie. I'm just saying it's, you know, kids that make a snowman. There's a hat, boom, it becomes, you know, you have the villain is the magician, and you know, it kind
spoiler alert.
Yeah, yeah. Well, but Charlie Brown Christmas has all the elements of Christmas. So if I was going to have to say, it's like Frosty the Snowman did a great job taking an element of Christmas time and making it a movie. Charlie Brown Christmas kind of encapsulates Christmas. So for that reason, it would also advance with me. Public's right. Charlie Brown Christmas makes it into the Final Four, and I don't think it was there last year.
I don't believe so.
I do not think it made it. So good for Charlie Brown Christmas. All right, we go now to
Black Christmas and A Christmas Story. I think Black Christmas is the only movie on this list that I haven't seen.
Well, you're missing out, my friend.
But Christmas Story was always on. I mean, we watched it multiple times a day on Christmas on the old TNT growing up as kids. I just have so many fond memories of that being on, and some of the lines, and even some of the storyline resonated with me. And so for that reason, A Christmas Story is going to have to be my vote.
I've said this in previous episodes, but what I think is interesting about this pairing, and it was completely random, it was by chance, both of these films were directed by Bob Clark. Obviously, Black Christmas came first, came out in 1974. It was also the film that inspired Halloween, which would then inspire the big slasher movement of the 80s. But
is it the same Bob Clark? Because Bob Clark seems like a pretty common name.
Yeah, it's the same Bob Clark who directed both of these, Black Christmas and A Christmas Story. A Christmas Story, like you said, it encapsulates everything about the holiday season. The family, the togetherness, the anger, the chaos, the feeling of that time of year, the commercialism, everything. Black Christmas is about a killer on Christmas. The thing is, though, is that Black Christmas I don't think it gets enough love. I'm going to be a little controversial this year, and I'm gonna go with Black Christmas because I think A Christmas Story, while it will always have its place in the annals of holiday history. Is it annals or anals? It's annals, isn't it?
I don't think. I'm not sure we want to go there, PJ.
I'm not going to comment on that.
Did I say it? It is annals, right?
Annals, yes.
Okay. I'm just making sure. But yeah, I think that, Christmas Story is one of those movies where it's like, you've seen it a gazillion times. And Black Christmas is highly underrated. So I'm going to go with Black Christmas this time around.
Hope you're not running for office anytime soon.
Nope, just which office? Principal's office?
I am not as big of a Christmas Story fan as many. And the reason for that is the same reason I shared last year. I think we have overplayed it. It's that top 40 song that gets played way too much.
It's any Mariah Carey Christmas song.
It just gets...
Oh, boy.
It just gets played.
Sorry, Mariah, if you're listening to this episode.
My wife loves Mariah.
And I can tell you this. I can tell you this. If A Christmas Story was paired up against number 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, or 8, it would be getting beat today. But lucky for Christmas Story.
Oh,
it got paired up against the weakest movie in the bunch, Black Christmas.
How can
and
you
I
say
will tell
weakest?
You this,
You've never seen Black Christmas.
I guess what I did.
Did you watch Black Christmas?
I watched it this week because I did not want to come in here and say I've never seen it.
Okay.
Okay? So, PJ, you accomplished one thing, and that was to get me to watch this movie. Okay?
Did you watch the entire thing?
No,
without
I did
fast
not.
forward? Oh, there we go. See?
I
There
did
could
it.
have been an amazing twist at the end of the movie.
Well, it's just not my thing. And it
How
wasn't
far into it did you actually get?
About 30 minutes.
That's not bad.
So here's the deal. A Christmas Story is advancing, but it had better watch its back. That's what I'm saying.
I can't say Bob Clark's rolling over in his grave because he made both of these movies. So he's at least turning over on his side.
On his side.
Yeah.
He turned.
He did.
He got turned.
Oh, real quick, before we move on to the next one, I just want to throw this out there. So I've been frequenting this place called Mega Replay here in town, which it's kind of like a book of music exchange where they sell movies and stuff, used movies. But while I was in there this last time, well, it was since our last podcast, they had several copies of It's a Wonderful Life. It was a double disc Blu-ray
Did you
set
get one?
for $3.99, so I picked it up. And now I can watch it in color or there's also the original black and white version and a color version.
So all you have to do, though, is watch it before next year because it's gone.
Right. It's not on the list, but I wanted to bring it up that I do now own It's a Wonderful Life, which I've never seen.
You should watch it on Christmas.
Well, I have no Thanksgiving plans this year, so I'll probably I can just watch it on Thanksgiving.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah. I mean, I do have Thanksgiving plans, just not on Thanksgiving Day. Well, I'm glad I really killed this conversation, so let's move on to the
No,
next.
you know what, PJ? I'm proud because I kind of jumped you pretty hard on the very first episode when you were with Tyler and I was driving. I was like, you've always remember I got good deal. Watch it before next year and give it an honest critiquing.
I will.
Okay. All right.
I like Jimmy Stewart, so I'm pretty sure I'll like it.
Yeah. John, you want to introduce the next bracket for us?
The Santa Claus and Home Alone. Oh, man. These are two I've grown up with. And
He's hurting on the inside right now.
yeah, this one's going to be difficult. I will say that every single year, my family gets a cake for Christmas, and on it, it says, "Merry Christmas, you filthy animal." And my mom always goes and orders it and picks it up, and the looks that she gets when she orders it and picks it up are just priceless. So there's a special place for Home Alone in my family's heart. Now, I love also the Santa Claus when he burns the turkey and they go to Denny's, and I mean, it's really good. Now, the second and third one are awful.
I agree.
So
I haven't even seen the third one.
I made the Santa Claus sound out of the second. That's where they make the big plastic Santa. Right?
Yeah.
And remember when he first comes out and he tries to say ho 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 and he goes ho 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 like that. It was terrible.
It's awful.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's a good imitation. I'm telling
right?
you.
It is.
I'm going to watch it now just for that part, but I'm
Yeah.
still not going to watch the third one.
But I even have more of an appreciation for the Santa Claus now being a lawyer and the contractual relation part of it to it. I mean, it's really, really good. But I'm going to have to go with Home Alone.
I'm going to make this easy. Grew up with both of these films. Do love both of these films. I actually had not seen the Santa Claus for a while until I watched it again last year, or sometime between last year and this year, maybe. And it still holds up. It's a great Tim Allen comedy. But I think between the two, Home Alone has a much more special place in my heart. I'm a big John Hughes fan. Plus, with the Wet Bandits, it's
So you guys are both advancing Home Alone.
Home Alone moves forward.
Just so people know, Home Alone was 2-1 in the public sentiment.
Yeah.
And we had quite a few votes on this bracket here on this particular show. A couple of the other ones didn't get as many votes, so the public spoke out. The voters went to the poll on this one. This was a race that they wanted to make sure they showed up and voted for. Santa Claus gets nicked out by the public. My only comments as we see Santa Claus go along the wayside is this is 2 years in a row. It's made it to the Elite Eight, or the Awesome Eight, as you call it. And rightfully so. It's a doggone good Christmas movie. It really is. It encapsulates a lot of Christmas, but it's going up against a super heavyweight. A movie that eventually will, if we do this enough years, end up in the Hall of Fame. Who knows? Maybe this year, but
maybe.
But it would be what I would have gotten my vote as well. So
they just came out with a Lego set of the McAllister house from Home Alone.
Really?
Yes.
How many? Do you know how many pieces that is?
Oh, it's like 3,000 or something.
Oh, wow.
It's like
Maybe that's a good
250 or
Christmas project.
$300.
I don't have the patience for that. I was the kid who got the Legos and then built whatever I wanted to because I just didn't have the patience to sit there and build what was on the box.
I will introduce the last bracket,
Okay.
and you two can give her a rip. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer versus Elf.
Some people are going to be upset with me, I think.
I think I have an idea then which one he's going to pick.
I like the underdog a lot of times. Elf is just overrated for me. I find Will Ferrell funny in some things, but in this, it's just it's too much. It's almost too much. It's like Jim Carrey. I'm not a big Jim Carrey fan either.
Oh, wow.
And so he goes almost Jim Carrey in this movie, and I've just never found it that funny. And I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me. So I'm going to pick Rudolph because I like the artistic style of the movie, and I like the storyline.
Interestingly enough, I think some people are going to be a little pissed at me as well. I love Elf. I think it's a hilarious movie. I do find it funny. I'm a Will Ferrell fan. I understand, like Jim Carrey, that Will Ferrell can be a acquired taste. So I do get that. But I'm a big Jim Carrey and a big Will Ferrell fan. However, I really like Elf. I don't consider it like a modern Christmas classic like a lot of other people do. Mm-hmm. I do enjoy it. Between the two, obviously, Elf is a comedy, so it's funny. But when I think of Christmas, Rudolph is in, like I said, the top three. So for me, it's Charlie Brown Christmas, Rudolph, and A Christmas Story are like the top three movies I think of. So I, too, am going to go with Rudolph. Because because for me it's you know, sorry Will Ferrell, I know a lot of people are going to disagree with that, but for me, like if I had the option of watching these two, especially like with my kids, I would pick Rudolph.
Let me ask you two a question. Do you think that one of the reasons for the popularity of Rudolph is that the song Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is also probably the best known Christmas song? I would say that if you brought 10 people in here and said sing 3 Christmas songs, that they may sing Joy to the World, they may sing, you know, Dashing Through the Snow in a One-Horse Open, Jingle Bells,
right?
And then I would say Rudolph would be in the top 3.
I agree. I think so.
And so I think a lot of that is because since the song is so popular and it goes well with the movie and the whole story, I just think it has this mass effect of Rudolph being popular. Oh my gosh, you know, Elf going along the wayside. You're right. We're going to take some smack for that. Mm-hmm. But for somebody to say that Rudolph's just not rooted in the fabric of America for Christmas, you'd have to be blind, you know, to ignore that. Right. So I'm with you. I think it belongs in the final 4, even though I didn't need to vote. I agree with you.
I think the people that are going to disagree the most, it's going to be mostly the younger crowd, because the younger crowd, 9 times out of 10, Logan, even when I sit down with him, he wants to talk about how horrible the stop motion animation is. And I'm like, no, it's like, this is top notch.
Right.
In its day, they didn't have all that CGI back then. The amount of time and work and sweat and tears that went into that. I mean, it took years for them to complete those types of movies. So there's so much more work that went into that, I feel, than Elf. And it just, to me, it deserves that respect. You're right. And then the other type of person you're going to get is that cancel culture individual who says that Rudolph is a pro-bullying movie and needs to be done away with.
Right. It's a movie about the guy that rises to the top and uses what skill set he has to be able to make it.
Right.
Right? You know?
Well, you know, and is there bullying in it? Yes. Santa Claus in the movie.
Is there bullying in life?
Yeah. Well, that's just it. Santa Claus is kind of a jerk, and the only reason that he comes around with Rudolph is when he realizes Rudolph serves a purpose for him. As in with life, you're going to run into those people. You're not going to be able to live your entire life getting participation ribbons.
Right.
You know, there are winners and there are losers, and this is about overcoming that adversity.
Well, yeah, and I mean the people that are the bullies should be looking for the useful, attributes that everybody has. So
Right.
There you go.
you're going to need them at some point.
Yeah.
So, wow, what a day. This has been, I haven't been.
Gee Willikers.
Yeah. So, let's set it up for next week, and then I have one other thing I want to talk about here. A Charlie Brown Christmas will be taking on A Christmas Story. Oh, boy.
Yeah.
And Home Alone will be taking on Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I'm talking about this one, man, this is something else. It's a shame, man. It's a shame, but just like in life, it's got to be somebody's got to rise to the top here. We'll see.
That's right.
One thing I want to talk about real quick before we go is I saw a picture on Facebook of a meal that had been spilled all over the table last night.
Yeah.
And PJ, I could not wait to talk to you about it. Every parent, and we share this because I'm sure it'll happen at a Thanksgiving table. It'll happen somewhere.
Yeah.
Every parent has had that situation where you see the spill coming, you can't stop it, and it makes just an utter mess. And I don't think there is a type of food that it could be worse with. I guess maybe spaghetti because of the red sauce.
Yeah.
But man, a plate of Japanese food with noodles and stuff going all
a
over
full
the place.
hibachi plate.
Yes. And did you see the picture,
Yeah,
John?
well, can we talk about this for a second? Because my wife does this too. This is like a new phenomenon for parents, right? Is it when your kids were growing up, anytime they spilled something or did anything, you didn't immediately take a picture of it and put it on social media.
No, because there was no social media.
Right, to blast them. But my wife does this too. The other day, she took a picture and said, how's your morning going? And she sent me a picture of our youngest who had spilled his milk in the floor and then slipped on it and was laying there wallowing in his milk. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I've definitely seen those.
Oh, man. That milk gags me. I can't stand the thought of milk.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, my eyes are watering, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yes, I cannot stand milk. I can't stand the smell of it, and that just got me. So, yes, that would ruin my morning. I would have been vomiting.
Yeah. Now, everybody now knows that if you really want to get to Travis, get him a 2-gallon jug of milk for Christmas.
Wow.
We went to Wasabi 54 last night, and I was sitting next to Connor. Everything was fine. Normally he's not the clumsy kid. He's not the one that like knocks things. I mean, he can be, but he's usually pretty good. I think where things went wrong was when the waiter came to the table to give everybody their food. Normally they sit the plate down in front of you, but instead he handed the plate to Connor. I think that was the big
handoff.
The no, right.
And it was probably heavier.
I did the thing where as the plate was coming across me, I kind of held my hands out like, you're just in case. Connor takes the plate. Then I turn to the waiter. He hands me my food. As he's handing me my food, I just see the plate just do a complete 180 and flip upside down and crash. And food went everywhere. It went in Connor's. He had a salad and soup as well.
Yeah, I saw that.
It went all in his soup. It went all in his salad. It went all inside of his Pepsi. So there was just, if you look at the picture,
Nothing salvageable.
No, there's noodles and broccoli and everything inside of his Pepsi. And everybody was so stunned. Connor had this, oh God, I'm in a lot of trouble look on his face. But everybody else, it was like no one knew how to react.
Were there other people with you?
Oh, yeah. There was Logan, Leslie, and her son Luke. We were all there.
So you had 5 of you there.
Right. So there was 5 of us and the waiter, and we all just stood there staring defeated at this food all over the table. And Connor picks his plate up and then kind of sits it to the side. And for probably a good 20 seconds, everyone sat in silence. Now, I don't know what everyone else was thinking. What was going through my mind was, okay, well, maybe we can save this. because he got the steak hibachi. So it was,
it's not a cheap plate.
Yeah, so there's the vegetables, there's the rice, there's the noodles, there's the
Right.
steak. And so I'm like, okay, well, everything that fell in the salad bowl is probably okay. There's some steak in his drink. That might be all right because it's sitting on top of the ice. But I'm like, everything else, the rice the
noodles were all over.
Oh, the noodles were everywhere. The sticky rice. That's what's funny about the sticky rice is, they put it in
big
that
ball.
cup. So it's just a
I
ball
saw that
of
too, yeah.
rice sitting on the table. And so finally I just came to the conclusion that it was a total loss. I look at the waiter because I'm like, now what happens? Do I pay for all this food? That I'm going to tell you right now, and some people would probably think I'm a horrible parent. If they hadn't have brought him another plate, the waiter was super cool. The waiter apologized. I was like, I don't know what you're apologizing about. He's the one who spilled it. He was like, you know what? I'll go back to the kitchen. I'll have him put another plate together for him. And I was like, all right, cool, thank you. What's funny is it obviously wasn't on the fly because we didn't get it until right before we were about to leave. So it just got put in a to-go box and we left.
You were going to the movies afterwards, right?
Yeah,
You didn't let Butterfingers hold the popcorn, did you?
Oh, I looked at him and said, if you're expecting to get everything, including a drink, after tonight, after what happened, you're sadly mistaken. I was not going to allow him to have anything that could spill in his hand.
Gotcha.
So they went and made him another plate. But had they not made him another plate, I'd have been like, look, you're either just not going to eat any of this or you're going to figure out what you still want to eat. I would
that
put
is
it on
rough,
his plate.
man.
Well, I mean, 20-second rule. They clean the tables off. People eat out at dumpsters all the time, and they're fine.
But they're not your kids.
Right. So sometimes things in life happen to where you must be humbled. And I feel like this is one of those things like, look, you couldn't hold on to your plate. You must not have had that much respect for your
we were
food.
going to go this far.
Yeah, I told PJ I'd never want him on a jury.
I know.
It's not going to hurt him. How many times have you picked food up off the floor and ate it? You're fine.
Not very many. I'm not going to admit to that.
Well, you answered a few of my questions. I was wondering if the child ate, and
he did.
Okay.
I mean, he would have eaten one way or the other, I guess.
Yeah, when he got home, crackers and cheese. John. That's fine.
Yeah. Now I still did get him a drink when we got to the movie theater, but to go into what you said, like
people do take pictures.
The whole picture thing,
right?
There was a point in life, and I think this had to do with me being in my previous marriage, as if I had another marriage. No, when I was in my marriage, and I think it was because things weren't great. The stress of that kind of weighs on you. So when stuff goes wrong, you react to it a little bit more, like ugh. So there was a time where I probably would have went like Connor, man, like really gotten onto him. But things are fantastic right now. I'm probably the happiest I've ever been. I just kind of looked at him and I was like, well, accidents happen. You're lucky that they're bringing you more food because otherwise you'd be eating all these noodles right here.
Never mind. Here, have a little of mine, son.
Yeah,
Leslie did that.
You get the Coke-soaked noodles.
And enjoy your Coke.
So here's what's funny. I get his plate and I just I'm scooping everything off the table onto his plate. And the waiter came and took the plate, and I got some napkins. I wipe everything up off the table, and I wad it up, and I don't know what to do with it, so I just shove it down into his Pepsi. He gets mad at me. He goes, hey, I was drinking that. It's got noodles and everything hanging. It's got a piece of broccoli in it.
Well, the kid wanted some protein. He wasn't sure what was going to happen.
I was like, are you kidding me? Just let him bring you another. He's like, I'm drinking this Pepsi. I was like, is it not great? It's got soy sauce in it.
He didn't know. He was.
Yeah. But
worried.
Leslie ended up, she didn't eat all of her food.
Okay,
so like
well,
while he
she's
was
a champion.
waiting,
she's a human.
Yeah, she cares. So.
Well, I can tell you, it probably wouldn't impress her if you just blew up on Connor about that anyways.
Right. That's right. You get a brownie point for that.
He did end up getting in trouble because after this happened, for some reason, he took his fork and he leaned across the table and he was trying to get a piece of chicken out of Logan's basket because Logan got chicken fingers and fries, but they were in two separate baskets. He knocks Logan's French fries off the table. Logan happens to catch it mid-fall, but what happens is he has this glob of ketchup in it, and that flies out all over his pants.
Connor was not having a good night.
No, so at that point, I did get on to him because I'm like,
needs a little.
Yeah, so I made him sit on his hands.
Okay, that's kind of a good one. I might have to try that one.
Sit on your hands.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
He was good until he did that, and then
That's funny though. You saw yesterday. I was in a deposition. The room was so cold, and it kept getting colder as the day went on. I don't know if they didn't have the heat on in there. I sat on my hands. I was like, the only way to keep my hands warm. And I was like, I was glad Davin was there taking notes. I was like, I'm sitting on my hands. Oh,
yeah.
Hey, this has been a great episode, John. Thank you for joining us. It is the most wonderful time of the year. We are blessed here at Foreman Watson Holtry to have a lot of great people on staff and as a part of our team, and we look forward to being able to help you and yours as we move forward with anything you may need legally. And you can always find us at www.fwhlegal.com and all of the platforms of social media. Until next time, this has been Law Lite from Foreman Watson Holtry.
Thanks. Go Cats.
This case should never have come to trial.
I don't think it's fair to call my clients frauds. Because one time I turned into a dog and they helped me. Thank you.
Your Honor, we would like to withdraw our plea of not guilty and enter a plea of guilty.
This trial is a travesty. It's a travesty of a mockery, of a sham, of a mockery, of a travesty, of two mockeries of a sham.
If we are to have faith and justice, we need only to believe in ourselves.
And the truth shall set you free.
How do you plead, guilty or not guilty?
Oh, guilty, but with a real good excuse.
I think the truth will come forth.
You can't handle the truth.